folks, Ariel over here with the next steps on our building process. So after getting all the trusses set, the rainstorm, getting the floor dried out again and all that good stuff, we got to actually doing more of the roofing. So first here you can see Clay building out the fascia boards and the lookouts. That's the part where the roof overhangs the house wall by a little bit on the end so that it protects the wall from weather and such beating right against it. Anyway, you kind of have to build that part, I learned, after doing the main trusses, and that's my brother who came over to help again with that, because to set some of that, kind of climbing through the rafters and hanging off of ladders and needing things handed back and forth, so that was very helpful to have him be a third set of hands. We are super thankful for his willingness to come help with a couple of these projects up on the roof, where a third person is very handy. Anyway, once we got done with this part, which took a couple days, and as you can see, we were working till pretty much after dark on all of these days, really wanting to get this roof dried in before it should rain again. Once we got that part done on the one side of the roof, then we sheeted it, which Mike also came over and helped do, so that we could use the scaffolding all in place on the one side before moving over and doing all the same things on the other side of the roof. Anyway, like I said, we worked till after dark. Quite a few nights doing this. We did get it dried in before any more rain, and now it really hasn't rained the whole rest of the summer. So you can watch along as we do this, and then we have some more steps to the roof. Still working after dark. That's the not quite full moon. We've been working late and working early because, as you can see, it has been quite hot for Wyoming. It's been in the 90-somethings almost every day, despite the fact that our normal summertime highs here are more like the very low 70s. So it has been extremely hot. Anyway, what we are doing here is putting on the Ulay or underlayment. That's kind of a waterproof layer that protects the roof that goes under the metal, which is not yet on here. It's not actually a paper, but a roll of kind of like a paper-like material that's waterproof. So that was the last step to finish on this side of the roof, and then we were able to move the scaffolding and everything over to the other side to basically duplicate everything that we just did on that side. And of course, once again, on this side, we were quite thankful to have Micah's assistance again with sheeting everything and getting that part done. Then we had to do the underlayment material on this side as well. And as we finish up toward the top of there, you will see that there are two different colors. Those are actually not really different materials. They're two different brands. We had a full roll of the one, and we had a little bit left actually from doing Micah's cabin a couple years back of the other, which was just enough to finish this roof without having to buy another whole roll of the material. So they're just two different brands. If you're wondering about the different colors, they're not. I guess they are different materials, but they're supposed to do the same job. And then, as you can see, our official inspector showed up to be sure everything was approved.
Places I can nail.
So as you come up here, you're sheeting the front wall, and explain to me why you didn't finish the wall before we put the roof on.
Well,
Because, right.
This is the wall plate, the top wall plate, and this is the start of your truss. A lot of people will end their plywood right there because it's easier when they're framing the wall, but I left this off so I could tie the wall into the roof system. So that truss now becomes part of the wall. Make sense?
It does, and that just makes the whole thing much more stable than if you'd sheeted to the top of the wall.
Yeah.
And then the roof was entirely separate, even with hurricane tie downs and whatever. This still helps strengthen the join between the two.
Yeah.
So next, we finished sheeting across that front, triangular part of the front wall there, because that needed to be done before we could finish the little roof on the mudroom, because it's kind of, you'll see here in a second, behind that roofing, so it needed to get done first. Somebody had asked about the pitch of the roof. Both the mudroom and the main house, and all the other buildings on our property for that matter, are a 412 pitch that is steep enough to shed snow pretty well with a metal roof in our climate. A lot of the older houses in the area, while built very much like ours, tend to have a 612 pitch. If you did not have a metal roof, you often had to get that steep to get the snow to shed. But with metal, which is what we're doing and which is relatively available now compared to 100-something years ago, a 412 pitch will shed snow. So that is what all of these are. And so you can see Clay working here on going back and forth between cutting and doing blocking. There's blocking like this between all of the trusses on the bigger part of the roof as well. You can kind of see them above and behind his head there. There's small vent spaces allowed above the blocking and below the roofing that allow air to flow along there and keep it a dry, cool roof. The insulation will be in the ceiling under that. So anyway, it also stabilizes between the trusses and does all kinds of important things. And then here's doing the lookouts. Again, that's the overhang that keeps, rain or snow from shedding right down your walls. On the mudroom roof, it's basically just a mini version of the big roof that, for that mudroom Arctic entry little area. So it also has an overhang, which takes much more time to build on something that small than just setting those little trusses up there. Anyhow, once that got all done, you can actually see here we had one of our typical summer storms where it rained. There's a proper term for this, I can't think of it at the moment, where rain fell down out of those clouds but evaporated again before it ever got to the ground. We didn't get a single drop of water from that, even though the clouds were dropping water, just not dropping it to the ground. So that was finishing up framing the little roof, and then we just had to sheet it and get the underlayment onto that, and then we were all good. If it did rain, everything would be dry inside the house. It doesn't have windows and doors yet, but any rain coming straight down or even blowing kind of sideways with the roof overhangs would not get anything wet inside. So that was quite a relief to get to that point. We actually finished this up a couple weeks ago, and I did not get the video done because we've gone on to a bunch more steps and have been really busy. So you will see some more videos coming quite shortly, hopefully. But we have everything dried in on the roof, and that is a very exciting step to be at. And if you've missed the other videos, you can go back and check out the videos tab. They should be in order. I know several people have told me that YouTube seems to have unsubscribed them and they're not seeing all the videos, but just check the video tab and you will see any that you may have missed if you're interested.
Thank you everyone for watching. It means a lot, and I hope you learned something along the way.
If you know somebody else who would enjoy this as well, share it with them.